I never imagined the world of humans would feel so different from my own. As a daughter of the luminous Maelis constellation, I was raised under starlight, our ancient palaces floating above silver oceans, our voices echoing with the harmonies of crystal symphonies. But all that seemed to blur into shadows the moment I met Carter. I arrived on Earth as an emissary, cloaked in the shimmer of Maelis technology that made me appear almost human, if not for the faint glow of my skin and the fractal patterns in my eyes. My mission was to negotiate a trade alliance to exchange alien technologies for Earth's cultural treasures. But when I first saw Carter, standing in the crowded conference hall in a simple black jacket, everything I thought I knew began to slip away. His voice carried a quiet strength that made me pause. He wasn't like the others, no calculating glint in his gaze, no need to impress, just genuine curiosity. I felt his attention brush against my thoughts like a warm breeze. "Bella," he said, reaching out his hand, "it's an honor to meet you." I hesitated, my fingers trembling slightly as they touched his. Our worlds collided in that simple gesture. My protocols warned me, don't trust, don't reveal, but something about him disarmed me. The negotiations were supposed to be formal and clinical. Instead, we found ourselves drifting into deeper conversations. He asked about Maelis skies, about the way our minds shaped our cities from pure energy and how we sang to the stars. In return, he shared Earth's music, warm, pulsing, raw with feeling. I found myself fascinated by the way Earth's melodies stirred something within me. One evening, under a skyline of neon and rain, Carter invited me to walk the streets of his city. The air smelled of rain and ozone, and the buildings seemed to shimmer with a life of their own. I was supposed to decline, protocol again, but I couldn't resist. We wandered through food stalls, glowing signs in languages I barely knew. He showed me Earth's delicacies, churros dipped in chocolate, sweet spiced teas, tangy slices of mango with chili. Each taste was a revelation, every flavor a burst of sensation I'd never known. As we walked, I watched the way his eyes lit up when he spoke of his planet. How it was flawed but beautiful, how humans could be fragile and yet indomitable. I felt something bloom inside me, a warmth I couldn't name. Back in the diplomatic quarters that night, I couldn't sleep. My thoughts were a storm of questions. Why did he make me feel this way? Was this part of some hidden agenda, or was it something more? The next morning, the council elders summoned me. They spoke in cold, measured tones about duty and alliance, about the importance of remaining distant from humans. "Remember, Bella," they warned, "your heart is not your own to give." But my heart had already begun to slip away, one stolen moment at a time. The day Carter made his unexpected offer, I nearly lost all composure. We were alone in the glass atrium of the Earth Embassy, 1,000 lights reflecting off the mirrored walls. He stepped closer. His eyes locked on mine. "Bella," he said, his voice low and certain, "I want you to stay, not as an emissary, as something more." My breath caught in my throat. My pulse raced. For the first time, I felt the weight of this world pressing against my skin, felt the heat of his words sink into my soul. My cheeks burned with a flush that betrayed my carefully trained composure. I can't," I stammered, my voice barely a whisper. My people's laws, the ancient bindings of my race, forbade such a bond. He didn't back away. "Why not?" "Bella, I've seen the way you look at me. I felt it too. This thing between us. Don't tell me it's just diplomacy." I shook my head, my breath coming in ragged gasps. "You don't understand, Carter. It's not that simple." His hand hovered near mine, close enough that I could feel the warmth of his skin. My thoughts spiraled, caught between duty and desire, between the laws of my world and the gravity of his. He leaned in, his voice soft but insistent. Then explain it to me. Tell me why. The room seemed to shrink around us, the world beyond the glass disappearing into a haze of neon and rain. My mind screamed at me to walk away, to obey the council's decree, but my heart, my treacherous, traitorous heart, ached for him, and so I told him the truth, knowing it would change everything. I took a breath, steadying my racing heart. I had never shared the ancient secrets of my people with anyone outside Malus. To do so was considered a betrayal of trust, a violation of the silent oath every Malus-born carried within. But Carter's gaze was unwavering, his presence grounding me in this alien world of steel and light. My throat felt tight, my thoughts a jumble of caution and longing. "Our bond," I began, my voice a quivering thread, "is more than just affection. In Malus tradition, when we offer our hearts, it's not something we can ever take back. It's called a soul vow, a link that binds us beyond lifetimes." Carter's brow furrowed, his expression softening as he took in my words. "A soul vow?" he repeated. I nodded, feeling the weight of those ancient words settle between us. "It's a promise that transcends death. If I were to choose you, Carter, I would carry your essence within me, even when the stars themselves fade." A hush fell between us. The distant hum of the city below was a muted whisper, the glow of neon lights painting our faces in shades of pink and blue. My hands trembled, and I clasped them tightly to still the shaking. "But," I continued, my voice cracking under the strain of my confession, "it's forbidden for us to make that vow with an outsider. It would be seen as treason, an affront to the lineage of my people. I could be exiled, or worse." Carter's jaw tightened, his hands curling into fists at his sides. "They would punish you for following your heart?" he asked, incredulous. I looked away, shame and fear warring within me. "My people believe our energy, our life force, is meant to be shared only with those of our own bloodline. To them, love with a human is a betrayal of our entire existence." A heavy silence pressed down on us. I watched Carter's face shift, his eyes darkening with resolve. "Bella," he said, his voice low and fierce, "I can't ask you to give up everything for me. But I need you to know. I feel it too. I've never felt this way about anyone before." My heart fluttered at his words, a fragile hope blossoming in my chest. But that hope was swiftly crushed by the cold voice of duty that echoed in my mind. "I know," I whispered, my throat tightening. "But feeling it isn't enough. If I choose you, I might never be able to return to my world." He stepped closer, his presence an anchor in the swirling storm of my thoughts. "Then don't go back," he said simply. A tear slipped down my cheek, the first I had shed in decades. My people believed tears were a sign of weakness, but in that moment, I felt no shame. "I can't just abandon everything I've ever known," I said. "My people need me. They expect me to honor the legacy of Malus, to preserve our ways." "And what about what you need?" Carter asked softly, his fingers brushing my cheek. "What about your heart, Bella?" His touch sent a shiver through me, every nerve alight with electricity. I wanted to lean into him, to surrender to the warmth of his embrace, to forget the chains of my lineage. But duty was a noose around my neck, tightening with every heartbeat. I pulled away, my breath ragged. I don't know," I admitted. "I've spent my entire life being told what to feel, what to want. But you make me question everything." He cupped my face in his hands, his eyes searching mine with a tenderness that made my chest ache. "Then let yourself feel it, Bella, just for tonight. Forget the rules, the council, the stars. Just be here, with me." For a moment, I let myself believe it was possible. I closed my eyes, letting the warmth of his touch seep into the cold void within me. My breath mingled with his, our shared silence more intimate than any words. But in the depths of my mind, the council's decree echoed like a death knell. Your heart is not your own to give. I pulled back, tears slipping down my cheeks. Carter, I want to stay. But if I do, I could lose everything. His gaze was steady, unwavering. Then let me be your everything, he said, his voice a vow in the darkness. My heart thudded in my chest, torn between love and duty. The choice was mine, but the cost would be everything. I retreated to my quarters that night, the council's words weighing on my shoulders like an anchor. My reflection in the obsidian mirror showed an alien girl caught between two worlds, her eyes aglow with malus light, but her heart beating to an earthly rhythm. I pressed my palm to the glass, feeling the faint hum of the malus crystal woven into the walls, a constant reminder of my purpose here. The council's message flickered in my mind, a directive I couldn't ignore. You are the bridge, Bella. Nothing more. Your feelings are irrelevant. Focus on the mission. But how could I, when Carter's words still lingered in the air, sweet and dangerous, when his touch still burned on my skin? I sank into the bed, my thoughts a tangled mess of longing and fear. The human world outside my window pulsed with life, neon lights, laughter, the rhythmic thrum of music in the distance. It was chaotic, beautiful, and so different from the crystalline calm of Milas. Sleep evaded me. In the quiet of the night, I reached for the holographic communicator embedded in my wrist. My mother's face flickered into view, her regal features etched with the ancient pride of our lineage. Bella, she said, her voice as cold and precise as the stars themselves. Your reports have grown incomplete. What is distracting you? I hesitated, my breath catching in my throat. I could not lie to her. Not when she was the matriarch of our house, not when every word I spoke was measured against the weight of centuries. There is a human, I said finally, my voice barely a whisper. He's different, Mother. He sees me, not just the emissary I'm supposed to be. Her eyes narrowed, the lines of her face hardening. You were not sent to Earth to indulge in sentiment, Bella. You are Malus. Our bloodline's purity is sacred. I know, I said, my voice shaking, but I can't deny what I feel. He makes me question everything I thought I knew. My mother's lips thinned, her disappointment a cold dagger. Feelings are fleeting, child. Our duty is eternal. Do not let this human's allure blind you to your purpose. I swallowed hard, tears stinging my eyes. What if my purpose is more than just duty? What if I want to choose for myself? A flicker of something, fear perhaps, crossed her face. If you break the vow of blood, you will be cast out. No home, no name. You will become a wanderer unbound by the Malus code. The weight of her words settled over me like a shroud. Exile was worse than death for our kind. It meant losing the connection to the collective consciousness of Milas, the shared songs of our ancestors. But if I stay, I whispered, I'll never know what it means to truly live. For a moment, silence reigned. My mother's gaze softened, just for a breath. You are my daughter, Bella, she said, and I love you, but the choice is yours. Just know that once made, it cannot be unmade. The call ended, her image dissolving into static. I was left in the dark, the city lights flickering beyond my window, as if mocking my turmoil. I didn't know how long I sat there, my thoughts spinning in endless circles. But eventually, a knock at the door shattered the silence. Bella? Carter's voice called softly. Are you awake? I hesitated, then rose and opened the door. He stood there, his expression a mix of worry and tenderness. I couldn't sleep, he said. I kept thinking about what you told me. I stepped aside, letting him in. My quarters felt smaller with him there, the air charged with something electric and fragile. "I don't know what to do," I confessed, my voice trembling. "If I choose you, Carter, I'll lose everything I've ever known." He reached for my hand, his touch gentle but firm. "Then let me be your new world," he said. "Let me show you that love is worth any price." My heart ached with the weight of his words. Could I really abandon my people, my lineage, for this human who had captured my soul with a single touch? I didn't have an answer. But in that moment, as his fingers laced through mine, I knew that whatever choice I made, it would change everything. The days that followed were a blur of secret meetings and stolen glances. My official duties kept me busy. Endless councils, diplomatic rituals, and the constant whispers of suspicion in the halls of the Earth Embassy. But in the quiet hours between, it was Carter's voice that anchored me. We met in the shadowed corners of the city's old district, where neon lights flickered like dying stars, and the air was heavy with the scent of rain. Here, away from the watchful eyes of both our worlds, I could almost believe that we were just two souls. No bloodlines, no duty, no fate hanging over us. Carter's hand was warm against mine as we walked, his steps careful on the cracked pavement. "You're quiet tonight," he said, glancing at me with a soft smile. "I'm thinking," I admitted, "about what it would mean to stay." His brow furrowed. "To stay? With me?" I nodded, feeling the weight of the words even as I spoke them. "If I stay, Carter, I'd be turning my back on everything I've ever known, my people, my family, the history that shaped me." He stopped, pulling me gently to face him. "Bella, you wouldn't be turning your back on them. You'd be choosing yourself, choosing us." I swallowed, my throat tight. "And if they come for me? If they see this as a betrayal, then let them come," he said, his voice fierce. "I'll stand with you, no matter what." For a moment, I believed him. I let myself imagine a life beyond the cold, crystalline halls of Malus, a life filled with music and laughter, with his arms around me and his voice whispering promises in the dark. But even in that fantasy, the council's decree loomed like a shadow. "Your heart is not your own to give." I pulled away, my hands trembling. "I wish it were that simple," I whispered. "But there's a part of me that will always be bound to them. My soul carries the songs of my ancestors. If I sever that, I don't know what I'll become." Carter reached for me, his touch gentle as he brushed a stray lock of hair from my face. "You'll still be you," he said softly. "And that's enough." His faith in me was a balm to my fractured soul. But doubt still clung to me, a parasite that refused to let go. We walked in silence for a while, the city's neon glow painting our path in hues of blue and pink. He led me to a rooftop garden, a hidden oasis above the chaos of the streets. Vines draped over rusted railings, flowers blooming in defiance of the concrete world below. "It's beautiful," I murmured, my breath catching at the sight. "It's my sanctuary," he said, "a place where the noise of the world can't reach me." I turned to him, my heart aching with the weight of everything I couldn't say. "Carter, I'm scared. Scared of what I feel for you. Scared of what I might lose if I let myself want this." He cupped my face in his hands, his eyes searching mine. "Then let's be scared together," he said. "I don't have all the answers, Bella, but I know that what I feel for you, it's real, and I won't let you face it alone." His words were a lifeline, pulling me back from the edge of doubt. I closed my eyes, letting his touch ground me, even as the storm of my thoughts raged on. For that night, I let myself believe in the impossible. I let myself imagine a future where the stars didn't dictate our fates, where love was enough to bridge the chasm between worlds. But even as I surrendered to the warmth of his embrace, I knew that the choice would soon be forced upon me. My people would not tolerate my defiance forever, and when the time came, I would have to decide, between duty and desire, between the life I was born to live and the love that had claimed my heart. The next morning, a message from the council arrived. It shimmered in the air above my wrist console, the words etched in cold silver light. "Return home, Bella. The trade negotiations are concluded. Any further delay will be seen as an act of rebellion." My breath caught in my throat as the words faded. I knew this was their final warning. My time on Earth was over, unless I defied everything I'd been raised to believe. I stood in the small, cluttered room Carter had offered me, a room that had become a haven in this alien world. His jacket hung on the back of a chair, the faint scent of his cologne lingering in the air. My heart twisted, caught between two futures that seemed equally impossible. When he arrived, his eyes found mine immediately, reading the fear that I tried to hide. "They've called you back," he said quietly. I nodded, my hands curling into fists at my sides. "They know. About us." He crossed the room in 2 strides, taking my hands in his. "Then let me come with you," he said. "Let me speak for you. They have to listen." A bitter smile curved my lips. "They won't listen, Carter. To them, you're nothing more than an intruder. They see only the bloodline, the old ways, not the beating heart that chose you." He pressed his forehead to mine, his breath warm against my skin. "Then let me steal you away. We'll disappear. Leave this city, leave this world if we have to." Tears stung my eyes. "And live how, Carter? As fugitives? Always looking over our shoulders?" "If that's what it takes," he said, his voice fierce, "I'd rather spend a lifetime running with you than an eternity alone." My heart ached at the raw conviction in his voice. For a moment, I let myself believe in the dream he offered. A life untethered by duty, a future that was ours to shape. But the weight of the vow still burned in my veins, an ancient promise I could not break without consequence. "I can't ask you to give up everything," I whispered. "Your life, your world, it would all be forfeit." "You're not asking," he said softly. "I'm choosing." His words were a balm and a blade, cutting through the fear that held me captive. I wanted to say yes, to let his love be the answer to every question I'd never dared to ask. But I could feel the pull of malice, like a tide in my blood, dragging me back to the world I was born to serve. In that moment, I realized the choice was no longer just mine. It was ours, and whatever path we chose, we would walk it together, or not at all. I stepped back, my breath trembling. If we do this, if I stay with you, I have to break the soul vow that binds me to Milas. It's more than a promise. It's a part of who I am. He searched my face, his eyes soft with understanding. Then how do we break it? I swallowed, my heart pounding. There's a ritual, one that severs the bond, but it's dangerous. If it fails, I could lose everything that makes me Malus. Then we'll find a way, he said, together. I looked at him, really looked, at the stubborn set of his jaw, the fire in his eyes. In that moment, I knew that whatever choice I made, he would stand by me, even if the whole universe turned against us. Tonight, I said, my voice steady despite the fear that coiled in my chest. Meet me in the old temple at the edge of the city. That's where the ritual must be performed. He nodded, his grip on my hands tightening. I'll be there. As he left, I felt the weight of the moment settle over me like a shroud. The path ahead was uncertain, fraught with danger and sacrifice. But for the first time, I felt a flicker of hope. Hope that love might be enough to defy even the oldest laws of the stars. Night fell over the city, and the rain came with it, soft and steady, painting the streets in shimmering reflections. I wrapped myself in a cloak of deep midnight blue, its folds woven from Malus silk that shifted and shimmered like starlight. My heart thudded in my chest with each step I took toward the old temple, a hidden relic from Earth's distant past, long abandoned and half swallowed by the relentless city. The temple's heavy doors loomed before me, ancient wood and iron etched with runes I didn't understand. I pushed them open, the hinges groaning in protest. The air inside was thick with incense and secrets, the scent of damp earth mingling with the faint whisper of old prayers. My fingers traced the worn stone of the doorway, grounding myself in the present as I stepped inside. Carter was already there, waiting. He stood near the altar, his jacket soaked through from the rain. His hair clung to his forehead in damp curls, his eyes bright even in the dim light. When he saw me, a soft smile touched his lips. "Bella," he said, his voice low and warm. "I didn't think I could be more sure of this. But seeing you now, I am." I swallowed hard, feeling the weight of what we were about to do press down on me. My heart ached with 1,000 questions, but his presence was a balm to every doubt. "This place," I whispered, stepping closer. "It's older than your people remember. The energy here, it's receptive. It can unbind what was bound in the name of the stars." He reached for my hand, his fingers cold but steady. "Then let's do it," he said. "Let's make you free." I nodded, though my hands shook. In the center of the temple, a small brazier waited. I knelt beside it, withdrawing a shard of malus crystal from the pouch at my waist, a sliver of the very heart of my world. It pulsed softly in the darkness, a light that seemed both fragile and eternal. "This crystal," I explained, my voice trembling, "is a conduit for the soul vow. It holds the threads of my bond to Malus. To sever it, I must shatter it. And in doing so, I risk severing myself from everything I've ever known." Carter crouched beside me, his hand on my back. "Then let me be the one to catch you if you fall," he said. "You don't have to do this alone." Tears welled in my eyes as I looked at him. In that moment, the weight of centuries seemed to fall away. All that remained was the beating of our hearts, the breath we shared in the cold, silent temple. I held the crystal above the brazier's flame. The light within it flared, threads of blue and silver swirling like the galaxies of my ancestors. My pulse quickened as I began the ancient incantation, my voice a trembling song of release and defiance. "By the light of the stars that birthed me," I whispered, my words echoing through the stone walls, "by the breath of the ancestors that shaped me, I renounce the vow that binds me to Milas. I claim my own heart, my own fate." The crystal shivered in my hand, its light growing brighter, almost blinding. I felt the bond within me straining, the energy of my lineage tugging at my soul like a riptide. Carter's hand found mine, grounding me in the here and now. "I'm here, Bella," he said. "I won't let you go." A sob caught in my throat, but I forced the words out. "I choose you, Carter. I choose this life, even if it means losing everything else." With a final breath, I brought the crystal down on the edge of the brazier. It shattered with a sound like a distant star collapsing, bright, searing, final. Light burst around us, filling the temple with a brilliance that drove the shadows from every corner. For a moment, there was no pain, only a sense of weightlessness, as if the universe itself had paused to witness the breaking of an ancient chain. I felt the bond to Malus tear away from me, a wound deeper than any I had ever known. My breath came in ragged gasps, my body trembling as the last threads of the vow unraveled. When the light finally faded, I collapsed to my knees. The air was heavy, charged with the remnants of the ritual's power. My skin no longer glowed with the soft shimmer of Malus light. The connection to the collective, the song of my ancestors, was gone. In its place was only silence, and the steady, mortal rhythm of my own heartbeat. Carter was there in an instant, his arms wrapping around me. "Bella," he murmured, his voice raw with relief. You did it. I clung to him, my tears soaking his shoulder. I don't feel them anymore, I whispered. The songs, the voices, they're gone. He pulled back just enough to look at me, his hands cupping my face. You're still you, he said firmly. You're not defined by the past, Bella. You're defined by the choices you make, and you chose this. I nodded, though my heart ached with the hollow space where my people's voices had once been. But in that emptiness, I felt something else. Freedom. The freedom to be who I wanted to be, not who I was born to become. For the first time, I looked at Carter without the weight of 1,000 ancestors in my gaze. He smiled, a slow, gentle smile that made my heart stutter. Let's go, he said, standing and offering me his hand. This world is ours now, Bella. Let's see what kind of future we can build, together. I took his hand, my fingers tightening around his. As we stepped out of the temple and into the rain-soaked night, I felt the last remnants of the past wash away. The future stretched before us, uncertain and bright, a story yet to be written, in a world where I was finally free to write it. We emerged from the ancient temple as dawn began to chase away the darkness. The rain had stopped, leaving the city shimmering under a sky streaked with fragile pink and gold. My heart still beat unsteadily in my chest, each breath a new beginning, strange and terrifying. Carter kept his hand in mine as we walked down the temple steps. The streets were empty at this early hour, the neon lights flickering out as the sun rose. It felt like the world itself was holding its breath, waiting for us to take the first step into our future. I thought I'd feel empty, I said softly, my voice still raw from the ritual. But I don't. I feel alive. Carter glanced at me, a smile playing at the corners of his mouth. That's because you are. You're not defined by where you came from, Bella. You're defined by what you choose to become. I took a deep breath, letting the cool morning air fill my lungs. I had spent my whole life listening to the collective songs of Malus, an unbroken chorus that told me who I was, what I must do. Without it, there was only silence. But in that silence, I heard my own voice for the first time. Carter squeezed my hand. What do you want to do first? He asked, his tone light but his eyes searching mine. Anything. It's your choice. I laughed, the sound bright and unexpected. I don't know. Everything feels new. Even the way the air tastes. It's different when it's only mine to breathe. He smiled, pulling me close. Then let's start with the small things. Breakfast. A warm drink. And after that, we'll see. We found a small cafe, tucked away on a quiet side street. Its windows were fogged with the promise of warmth inside. The smell of roasted coffee and sweet pastries wrapped around us as we stepped in, the simple comfort of it grounding me in this new, uncertain world. Carter ordered for us, his voice calm and steady as he spoke to the human woman behind the counter. I watched him, the ease with which he moved in this world that had once felt so foreign to me. But now, it felt less alien, because he was here, and I was no longer just an emissary. I was someone who had chosen love over duty. When he handed me a steaming cup of chai, I closed my eyes and inhaled the spicy, sweet scent. My people had always spoken of ritual and precision, of perfect balance in every cup of tea. But this was messy and human, and it tasted like freedom. We found a quiet table by the window, and I watched the city wake up around us. Cars hummed down rain-slick streets, neon signs flickered off one by one, and the air was filled with the soft murmur of conversation. For the first time, I let myself believe that this could be my world too. Carter reached across the table, his fingers brushing mine. "Tell me what you're thinking," he said. I hesitated, then let the words come. "I'm thinking that I was always taught love was something to be controlled, that it was a weakness. But now, I see it's the strongest thing I've ever known. His smile was gentle, but there was something fierce in his eyes. It is, he said. It's what makes us human, or whatever we are. It's what makes life worth living. I looked out the window, watching a young couple walk past, their laughter bright in the morning air. A mother held her child's hand, guiding him across the street. Life, in all its fragile, fleeting beauty, unfolding around me. I want to learn it all, I said softly. Not just the rituals and the rules. I want to know what it means to live. Really live. Carter's hand tightened around mine. Then that's what we'll do. Every day, every moment, we'll choose it together. I nodded, my throat tight with emotion. In the silence that followed, I felt the weight of the past slip away, replaced by the light of something new. I was no longer the voice of a distant star. I was Bella, and for the first time, that felt like enough. We finished our tea and stepped back into the morning air. The city was alive with possibility, every street a promise, every heartbeat a choice. Carter slipped his arm around me as we walked, his warmth steady and sure. I didn't know what the future would bring. The council might come for me. The ties I had severed might still seek to reclaim me. But in that moment, none of it mattered. I had chosen my heart, and it had chosen me. And together, we would face whatever came next. We left the cafe behind and wandered the waking city, our steps light as if the weight of the past had finally lifted. The sun rose higher, washing the streets in gold. People hurried past, humans caught in the rush of their own lives, while Carter and I moved at a different pace, savoring the wonder of each breath, each heartbeat. We stopped at a street vendor selling bright blossoms wrapped in paper cones. Carter bought one for me, an iris the color of twilight, and tucked it behind my ear, his fingers lingering against my skin. "You know," he said, his smile playful, "I never thought I'd fall for an emissary from the stars. But here you are, standing in the morning light like you were meant to be here all along." I blushed, feeling the warmth of his words sink deep into my bones. "And I never thought I'd find freedom in the arms of a human. But you've shown me what it means to belong, not just to a people, but to a choice." He brushed his thumb along my jaw, his gaze soft and steady. "That's all I've ever wanted for you, Bella. For you to be free. For you to be yours." I took his hand, the simple human gesture more precious than any vow of my people. "I am," I said, my voice trembling with the truth of it. "I'm yours, Carter, and I'm my own. For the first time, I feel like both can be true." We spent the day exploring, tasting street food, listening to buskers fill the air with music, sharing quiet smiles that spoke more than words. Every moment felt like a new beginning, each small wonder a promise of the life we were building together. As the sun set, we returned to the rooftop garden where he'd first told me his dreams. The vines glowed in the golden hour light, the city sprawling out beneath us like a living tapestry. I could see the stars beginning to emerge in the sky above, my old world looking down on this new one. Carter turned to me, his hands resting on my waist. "Do you miss them?" he asked softly. "The songs? The voices?" I paused, feeling the ache of that loss in the quiet spaces of my heart. "Sometimes," I admitted. "But those songs were never truly mine. They were echoes of a people who wanted to mold me into something I wasn't sure I could be. Now, I have my own song to sing." He smiled, his forehead pressing to mine. "Then let's make it beautiful." I closed my eyes, letting the wind and the music of the city fill the silence between us. "I want it to be real," I whispered, "not just a dream." "It is," he said, "every moment, every breath. This is as real as it gets." The city lights flickered below, 1,000 stories unfolding in every window. I thought of the council, of the life I had left behind. There would be consequences, I knew. My people did not forget. But for now, in the warmth of Carter's arms, none of that mattered. We stayed there until the stars claimed the sky, their ancient light a reminder that some things endure. No matter how far we travel, no matter what we leave behind. Carter took my hand and held it against his chest. "Promise me something," he said, his voice steady and sure. "Promise me that no matter what comes, we'll face it together." I looked up at him, the future a shimmering unknown in his eyes. "I promise," I said. "No more secrets, no more shadows, just us and whatever we choose to become." He kissed me then, soft and slow, the kind of kiss that felt like a sunrise. My heart raced, my skin alive with the warmth of him. And in that moment I knew, no matter what storms lay ahead, no matter how the stars shifted in the night sky, we had chosen each other. We had chosen love. As we pulled back, breathless and smiling, I felt the first flicker of laughter rise in my chest, pure and bright, like the ringing of a bell. Carter laughed too, the sound a promise of every joy yet to come. Above us, the constellations watched in silence. But for the first time in my life, I didn't care what the stars had to say. My heart was my own, my future was mine to shape. And with Carter's hand in mine, I was finally ready to begin.